What's up everybody? I see a lot of new faces. A lot of new faces out there. That means you're breaking the first rule of Fight Club. You do not talk about Fight Club. No, you're breaking, there's no rules of state you're not supposed to talk about Summoner's War. You do not talk about Summoner's War. What's up to all the new players? I know there's been so many new subscribers. There's been thousands of new subscribers. So what's up to all you new subscribers? If you haven't subscribed, then you're a new player anyway. Why don't you subscribe? What's the matter with you, huh? What's the matter with you, huh? Cause there's like 1,000 plus videos I've done like over 1,000 Summoners War videos alone. So there's a lot you missed out on. Go check out the channel if you're new. There's literally, you could binge watch for a month or more and just not ever stop. So there's a wealth of information videos that I've done. You might get sick of me after a month, but whatever. So check those out if you want. But a lot of the new players, because Summoners War have been doing so much advertising, so there's a lot of new players that are playing the game now. So I thought we would do back to basics, meat and potatoes, how to rune many of these monsters, basic guidelines, right? Because there's hundreds of monsters in Summoners War. I can't say how to rune every single monster. I mean, I could, but it's also flexible. You gotta think about it, like some monsters can do, you can put them on swift with attack or damage attack, or you can put them on fatal with speed crit damage attack, and it's gonna be similar type of build, right? So there's flexibility in the runes sometimes. But here's some basic guidelines for, it's 10, I wasn't even trying to do 10. Here's basic guidelines for how you want to, when you look at a monster, how to evaluate what kind of runes should go on them. Okay, so the first one that we're gonna look at is the monster type. Now this I kind of ignored for this guy. Actually, I have two Galleons, so they're gonna be they're in the process of being ruined. But Galleon is an HP based monster. So one I have kind of as a damage dealing build, right? One I have as speed crit damage accuracy. Oh, I'm in the middle of fixing these, I guess. I don't know. These are not the runes that I had on before. But Galleon is HP based monster. Let's actually take a look at a better example, not Galleon. Let's say Vigor, right? He's an HP based monster. Look at that massive HP, right? There's a reason that come to us. Usually these are kind of accurate. Like you should build this as this. And Galleon, if you're using him for arena, he is kind of like, if he's your only defense breaker, you kind of want to rune him a little bit tankier because you can't afford to have him die, right? But if you're using him for Dragon's B10, Galleon's a little bit flexible. But if you're using him for Dragon's B10, you also want him to do at least a little bit of damage, so you can clear. If you're doing him for speed runs, you need to have a certain amount of damage output. So I'm in between with my Galleons, but like Vigor, HP based monster, he's got a lot of HP because this does damage based on his skills, do damage based on his max HP, right? So we have HP, crit damage, HP. The crit damage is flexible, right? Crit damage can work with attack, can work with defense. Like if your monster scales with defense, like for example, Copper, you can have crit damage. He scales on defense, right? So he's defense-based monster. Here's another example. Defense-based monster. It says on the top right-hand corner, if you guys are wondering where I'm getting the thing. It says defense. Have him with a ton of defense. Here's another defense-based monster. Have him with a ton. I have the ton of attack. I'm not attack. I have a ton of HP on him too, but I have a ton of not a ton. I have a decent amount of HP, but I have a bunch of defense on him. Right? Then you have like her. She's an attack-based monster, so I have her with high attack. Usually, these are somewhat correct. Like I mentioned, there's exceptions to the rule. Like for Galleon, he is. Right now they're kind of in between. I messed them up and I gotta fix them. But one is gonna be a tanky monster, right? He's gonna be lots of HP, and he's gonna be for arena. And then the other one is gonna be squishier monster, not as much HP, more attack based, and for dungeons for Dragon's B10. So we got that. Like another one, the Shihao, right? He's an attack based monster, so he's got a lot of attack. Then who else do we have? But it gets tricky when you look into support monsters, because support monsters are a little bit different. So we'll get into those later. Most support monsters are support because they have buffs and debuffs. Like for example, Orion is a support monster. He's got a lot of speed. But let's see. Here's a monster that does not. It's you gotta not listen to come to us, right? Because he's a defense-based monster, but he does damage based on his attack power. These bombs that he does are based on his attack. So you gotta kind of rune him. You gotta kind of rune him different than Kamtua says defense, but he's not defense, right? Okay, so you got a good starting point at least is the monster type. You see HP, you're like, okay, should put maybe some HP on him. That works good. You see attack, okay, I should put attack style runes on him. Let's see with the second one is base stats. You go by the base stats. Another important thing. Like Orion, he's a support monster. He's got okay everything. He's got decent HP. He's got decent attack, decent defense, decent speed. He's all around a pretty good monster, right? So you got to look at the base stack, the base stats. Base stats. Galleon has nice HP for his base stats. Vigor. I mean, this kind of goes hand in hand with the monster type, but not always. Not always. Let's see this guy's support, but his base stats are like, where's his HP? He needs more HP. Orion's got more HP. I think Fedora needs a little bit more HP, but that's just my opinion. It's just my opinion. I think he needs more HP. So base stats also dictate, but that kind of goes hand in hand with the monster type, right? Another one, which I think not too many people really think about, is how many skills attack. How many actual skills do damage? So you're thinking, okay, well, how do I rune Konomiya, right? Well, Konomiya, look at Konomiya's skills. We attack with one, okay. Then this one does not attack, right? He could fill himself up and attack with it, but it's not an attack based, like it's not an attack. This skill in itself is not an attack. And then we have the third one, not an attack either. So if we put attack runes on him, only one skill is going to benefit from those attack runes, right? Whereas you say a monster like, again, this works hand in hand with a monster type, but you say like something like Shihao, we have all three of these are attacks, right? So when we put attack runes on, all three skills benefit from attack runes. Then we have something like Fedora, we have attack here, this is another one that's attacks here, but this attack is based on max HP, right? So if we try to make him an attacker, two of his skills attack, and this skill is a support-based skill, right? But this is also based on max HP, so we don't need to put attack runes because it's based on max HP. Which brings me to my next point, what is the damage based on? Which we already kind of covered in the what type of monster it is. It's not always like that, but sometimes monsters are based on defense, like here, proportionate to your defense, so you want to rune him with high defense. And then you have sometimes monsters are their attacks are based on the HP, like we saw with this guy. Damage based on max HP. Sometimes we have things that are damage based on attack speed. Damage increases according to your attack speed. So usually you want to have decent attack speed on the monsters that have the skills based on attack speed. So how many skills attack, right? 3 attacks on here. 1 is based on attack speed. So you usually want to go speed, attack, speed, crit damage, attack. Speed, crit damage, attack would probably be the best build for Tark. He's got 3 attacks. So we see that with 3 attack skills, all 3 skills are attack based, right? All 3 skills do damage to the enemy directly. So we want to put attack on there. But one of these is based on speed. So, okay, speed. Also, the more times you can use... This kind of like, the more times you can use this group hunt, the better, so that's another reason to have good speed on him. But speed, crit damage, attack, since this is based on attack speed, crit damage is going to benefit from, everything's going to benefit from crit damage, right? So if it's based on HP, it'll benefit from crit damage. If it's based on defense, it'll benefit from crit damage. So if you have mixed attack types, like one thing is based on attack, one thing's based on speed, but they're for the same monster, then crit damage is kind of like that nice middle ground where crit damage is going to benefit both skills. So that's a nice thing to do there. But the things that are based on attack speed, you usually want to have good speed on those monsters. So what is their damage based on attack speed? And I don't think she's even, is she fully ruined? Well, she's got decent speed anyway. She's got 184 speed, and then she's got decent crit rate and crit damage. What is she even on? Speed, crit damage, attack. Okay, perfect example, right? Perfect example. That is another one. Okay, so how many skills attack? Then we have to think about kind of like the flip side of that. How many skills don't attack? So if it doesn't attack, like for example, where's Jasun? Or even Aladriel too. Where's Aladriel? Aladriel has one attack based on defense, right? Then he has this heal, and he has, I didn't skill, my Aladriel really isn't supposed to be doing a lot of damage, but maybe I should eventually skill that up. I got the ones that matter skilled up. So this skill is not an attack. This skill is not an attack. Both of those are, one is a heal and one is a revive. So if we think about it, attack runes on Aladriel are really not going to be the best benefit, especially since this is based on defense. But even looking at Jasun, we have one attack here. Oh my god, I didn't realize Jasun needs another skill up. Chubagel, what are you doing? What are you doing, bro? I don't. Okay, news to me. That's news to me. I thought it was fully skilled up. So this is a heal. This is a heal. This is the only attack. So we're thinking about it. If we put attack runes on Jasun, she's not gonna benefit a lot from them. She only has one attack out of 3. So yeah, how many skills do not attack? And then we have another one. Also, another thing, I didn't write this down on my little cheat sheet, but the healers, you usually want a lot of speed on the healers, right? Usually, there's certain instances where you don't need much speed on the healers, but you usually want, like for example, if you're using them in a Leo team, you don't really need the speed on them as much. But you usually want a lot of speed on healers, just because you want them to get enough turns to make sure that everyone's fully healed all the time. Don't let your team get too destroyed. Right? Okay. So this is something that you do not want to put attack runes on because she only has one attack. Then you look at the Fire Sky Dancer. I know she's not skilled up. All right. I prioritize Jasun. Do you blame me? I prioritize Jasun. She's got one attack here, her second one is a heal, and then her third one is an attack as well. So we have 2 attacks. She is a healer, but she's got 2 attacks. So this Sky Dancer, it's the same type of monster, but they're both Sky Dancers, but this one benefits a lot more from the attack. Also, this heal is based on her attack power, so she synergizes well with herself since everything is based on attack. But also, she does have a heal. I would put, mine is not as fast as she should be. I don't even want to show you her runes because she's not as fast as she should be. But she's got a lot of attack power. And this is another one where it benefits more from attack than it does from crit damage because this skill benefits from attack power. Alright, then we have, let's see. Oh, okay, here's another one. If there's a lot of buffs or debuffs on a monster, you need a lot of speed on that monster. So we're talking buffs of increases your attack power, increases your defense. This is just generally speaking, the more buffs and debuffs, the more speed that monster should have. So if it increases your attack gauge, increases your attack speed, increases your attack power, increases your defense, increases your... What else is there? I don't even remember what else is there. There's a lot more, alright? Invincibility, immunity, all those things need high speed. Let's think about what monsters do that. Okay. Draco, immunity. 116, nice speed. Chloe, immunity. Well, I'm saying 116 plus 116, like 106 plus 116. So nice speed on that. Chloe, nice speed on Chloe because she does... She's a team buffer, right? She gives you the immunity and invincibility. Galleon, nice speed on the Galleon because he also buffs the attack as well. He's a buffer and he's a debuffer. All of his skills have debuffs. The first one, defense breaks. The second one reduces attack gauge. The third one is an AoE defense break and attack buff. So it's a buff and a debuff. Right? Who else does that? Orion is a debuffer. This guy's a buffer. He should be faster, but he does give the immunity. So things like Megan, another one. Tyron is a debuffer. He's got a freeze and he's got a glancing hit. He's got an AoE freeze. He's got an AoE glancing hit. Those are both debuffs. So he's got high speed as well. He could be higher, but it's Tyron. Come on, we're not going to give our best speed runes to Tyron, right? Vertiheal. Think about it. It doesn't actually give. This one doesn't do debuffs. This one doesn't do debuffs. But this is a buff. The Boiling Blood passive is still a buff. So think about that as well. You have this guy. He's got. He should have better speed, right? My Seek. Some people like to do fast Seek Lucians. I have. The teams that I use Seek and Lucian with are not as fast as the other ones, but he is. He does nicely with high speed as well. Let's see what else. Debuff. He does debuffs as well. He'll strip the enemy team. That's still a debuff. He still does these debuffs as well. So he's got high speed. Lisa has this. She's got this glancing hit debuff. She's got the removal of beneficial effects and increase the attack bar, which is a buff to you and a debuff to the enemy. And then we have this attack command, which is a cleanse. Cleanse as well. You want high speed like Annabelle. She's a healer, but she also does a cleanse. So you want high speed on Annabelle as well. All those monsters, you wanna anything that does buffs and debuffs. You wanna do. Here's another one that I haven't built, but I know a lot of you guys should really consider building her. She's a fantastic monster. Is Shannon, right? She's got the first skill. She's got a debuff. She's got an AoE debuff here, AoE attack speed break, and an AoE buff for your team here. She's super easy to skill up. If you're a beginner player, don't make her your first 6-star or anything, but she's a great monster. Another one, she's got good base speed, and you should focus on, since she does both buffs and debuffs on all three of her skills, she needs good speed. So the more buffs and debuffs your monsters have, the more, if they just do poop out damage on everyone, then you don't need as much speed on them usually, and you should prioritize the speed on the monsters that do buff skills and debuff skills, like buffs your team and debuffs the enemy. As well as attack gauge buffs too. Usually the monsters that have the attack gauge buffs usually need the most speed. Let's see what else. Alright. Double AoE, just generally speaking, I like to do Despair on double AoE monsters. Tyron has AoE area of effect skill, which means he does something to all the enemies. So I like to do Despair on Tyron. He's speed attack. I've had him runed with the same runes for forever. I know you're gonna be like, that rune set doesn't make sense. Why not Focus? Focus would be better on him. He's been runed for forever. I never changed his runes. He works. I'm just gonna leave him as is. But he would work much better with Focus. So yeah. But yeah, that's one with double AoEs. Let's see who else I have this double. I think the other double AoEs. The exception to that rule is that Lucian is really not for crowd control. Lucian is really such a huge damage dealer that you want him to kill things. So you want him to be rage or fatal just with a lot of damage. Let's see. So generally, as a rule of thumb, if these dogs, I'm gonna kill them. Anyway, if you have double AoEs, also if you cleanse, monsters that cleanse just generally are very nice with Despair. Who are we talking about here? We're talking about, we can go here. We can go look at Praha. She's a nice cleanse monster. We can look at, no, Tiana's the exception to that. I accidentally clicked on Tiana, but she's the exception to that because she should not be on Despair. She's kind of her own monster. She defies a lot of Summoner's War rules, and She's amazing. She's amazing for arena, but where is he? Orion, Aquila. He's another stripper, so he'll strip the enemy team. He doesn't have to be on Despair, but a lot of people like to do him with Despair. A lot of people like to do these monsters that cleanse on Despair. I have my Chiwu on Despair as well. Oh, I just switched this out. It would be nice if I upgraded the rune too. Yeah. Alright. So we have those, but double AoEs and monsters that strip the enemy's buffs are usually nice with Despair runes. Just generally speaking. Then we have, another thing I like to do, as a rule of thumb for me, monsters with passives, usually Revenge or Nemesis work nicely on. Monsters with passives. So let's think about who has passives. Who has passives? We have Trevor. Alright, Revenge or Nemesis. So I have Nemesis on my Trevor. Right? I kind of like him as a hybrid. He does less damage, but he stays around longer to do the crazy damage. But ultimately, I would love to have him on attack or damage attack with just HP substats, but this is okay for now. But I have him on also his crit rate. His crit rate doesn't need to be too high because he does buff his own crit rate. Remember that. Remember. But he has a passive here. And he has Nemesis runes. Who else? Who else is a passive? Revenge works nicely on him. Like I said, Revenge and Nemesis. Revenge on him, he's got a passive. So this guy's passive is he does not take defense breaks. Which means he's a defense-based tank, he does not take defense breaks. If you take him in somewhere, usually people have to hit him more times, and he'll revenge. So, also monsters that have really nice first skills like stuns and defense breaks, usually nice to have revenge on those. So, also another monster that, here we go, she's got a passive, she's got Nemesis runes. Another monster, really popular monster people like to have on Nemesis is, where is she? Camila. Very popular Nemesis monster. Let's see who else. She heals herself, so another one is Chow. People like to put Nemesis on him as well, just because they heal themselves with their passives. But usually, I like to. Okay, so I have Vampire Nemesis. Vampire Nemesis is a nice combination, also. But that's why I have those. So Nemesis usually for monsters that heal themselves is passive. I should have specified, but a lot of times Revenge is nice for. Like, for example, for Trevor, Revenge is nice. But monsters that have passives, usually, generally speaking, are fun on Revenge, like the Fire Monkey King. Like Tessarion, he's got a passive, he's nice on Revenge. It's just a general speaking. He's on Revenge, he also has a passive as well, right? Passive, passive, very good. Alright, who else? What else? Also, you have to consider the team. Too many people do not think about this. You have to consider the team that you're using it with. What kind of monsters work in that? Everyone says, oh, ruin this monster this way, ruin this monster this way. If you're using a team that everyone else is fast, and you have one nuker that's way slower than the rest of them, that nuker is going to get left in the dust. Everyone else is going to move first, and then, you know, you're going to have your Galleon, your defense break, your whatever else. And then, like, your nukers are just going to be sitting there like, hey, I'm not really doing anything. And then you're going to get interrupted by something else. You got to make sure that you're ruining your teams together as a whole. Not enough people do this, because really, and it's kind of our fault as YouTubers, it's kind of our fault that we don't stress enough that you have to ruin your teams together. You have to make sure, even if your teams are silly, if they have synergy, that's a big part of the equation. If they all work together and do one specific, they're like, this team does this, right? Then I like to ruin my defense breakers, like the speed tuning too. This also has to do with speed tuning. Your defense breaker should move, well, your stripper should move first. If you're doing like arena, for example, your structure move first, your defense breaker, then your attackers. That's the way I like to use the double attacker team. You also have to think about your speed tuning for giants and Necropolis, big time. Necropolis is very important to make sure your monsters move in the right turn order. You can have the perfect Necropolis monsters, and if they move in the wrong turn order, you'll barely win. And if you have them in the right turn order, you'll win much more. So if you're having trouble with Necropolis, consider that. All right. Consider that. You got to make sure that you're using it in the right team. Also, sometimes if you're using, another good example is Necropolis. If you're using 2 tanky monsters and 3 squishy monsters, it's kind of gonna not balance each other out. You gotta try to have one focused thing. Like, okay, we're gonna go, or even in dragons, if you're trying to do 2 tanky dragons monsters and 3 speed team monsters, you can't really mix and match both. It has to be like one specific mindset of, I'm gonna do a speed team, or I'm gonna do a safe team that takes longer, but it's gonna be safe, right? So you have to make sure that your monsters all have the same goal, the same mindset. Like, okay, monsters, let's huddle up, let's get together. We're gonna ruin ourselves, that we work with each other instead of against each other. So like, for example, if you take 2 tanky monsters into Necropolis and 3 squishy monsters, and one of the tanky monsters, like 3 squishy attackers, one of the tanky monsters gets stolen, it's going to be a ridiculous pain for you to try to get those back. Like, for example, the Fire Panda, if you're using the Fire Panda in Necropolis, try to make sure your turn order is so that he does not get stolen, because if he gets stolen, it's going to just make your Necropolis runs a nightmare, and they're going to be longer than they should be. So try to make sure that the turn order is that so he does not get stolen. Things like that, right? Let's see. Or like with him, use daughters and daughters, not daughters, not like sons and daughters, but just make sure your team has synergy, knows what knows what they're supposed to do together. Oh my god, it takes me so long to say that. Oh my god, this video is already half an hour long. The next one is, how many debuffs and how vital are they? How many debuffs? How many skills do you debuff? It's kind of similar to the buff and debuff you need speed, but this one's about accuracy. How many debuffs? Galleon. All debuffs are vital with Galleon needs to defense break everyone with this, right? And in dragons, he needs all 3 of those are really nice in. You don't have to max all the skills on Galleon, but it makes dragons a lot easier if you're doing that kind of dragons team, right? Again, you got to make sure all the monsters work well, synergy together. You can't like stick one tanky slow monster into Dragon's speed team and then expect it to do what you need it to do, because it's not. If you're gonna go fast and hit it in the face, you gotta go fast, and you gotta hit it in the face, and you gotta make sure that your accuracy is there to make sure that everyone gets defense broken, because you can't afford them to start hitting you. So like, for example, Galleon needs high accuracy. Let's think about someone else who needs high accuracy. So how many debuffs and how vital are they? Something like Chloe, for example, no debuffs, right? This is nothing. This is no debuff. This is no debuff. She buffs your team. She doesn't need accuracy for that. She needs accuracy when she's doing something to the enemy. So she's got to make sure she's got good accuracy for that. What other monsters have good accuracy? Does she have good accuracy? She's got 45. It's not horrible, but it's not great. Let's see who else. It's really Galleon. This guy, Spectra, I like to have, because this is the only debuff that he has. But in my eyes, I need this to happen all the time. This is very important for me. So that's why I prioritized accuracy on him. If you say no, Jubega, he doesn't need that much accuracy, I would agree with you too. Another one, this guy needs pretty good accuracy. He's got 74% accuracy to Sarion. So I tried to get some accuracy on him. I don't even know what runes are on him. It's not a bad rune. Let's see. Not bad runes at all. Accuracy 18% here, and then accuracy 15%. I guess his awakening. Okay, his awakening. But this passive, you want to make sure that this. A lot of times you need this, right? Because you take it into Camellia, you can take it into Chow. They're water monsters. You need that accuracy, right? You need that accuracy because you want to break their passive skill. So, how vital are the debuffs? For example, he doesn't need any accuracy at all. His skills don't do any debuffs. He requires no accuracy. The 10% is just whatever because it was there. He needs some accuracy. He's got 56%. He needs for the defense break, and he's got all these debuffs here. So he needs accuracy as well. So maybe I should try to put some more on him. But how many debuffs do the monsters have with their skills? Like, for example, I said Galleon has 3. All 3 of his skills debuff. And this one, time to loot, is vital for me. So that's why it needs to be. So that's why I have 100% accuracy on him. Let's see. So is that, and then will runes, the last one. Will runes are strong for arena and guild wars, but not very useful for chaos dungeon or raids or having a farmer with will runes. They're really for PvP, player versus player. So when you're thinking about using, monsters are good, which is good for will runes. Will runes are great for guild battle defense and also guild battle offense and arena defense and offense as well. We've gotten into this meta in the game where you need, like, really at a certain point, like if you're low level, if you're just starting out the game, you don't worry about will runes. That should be the last thing on your mind. Will runes, whatever. You know, you're not trying to get to the top of arena. And if you just start the game, it'll be a long time before you get there. Trust me. It'll be a long, hard, tedious time before you get there. But if you just started the game, don't worry about will runes. I mean, if you started in the past, if you like 1, 2, 3 months in, I wouldn't even worry about will runes yet. Not unless you're really pushing hard, playing 10 hours a day. Then 3 months in, like, okay, maybe some will runes might be nice. But yeah, if you're not even at level 50 yet, don't even worry about will runes. They're for PvP. They're just for arena and guild wars. You don't need them in dungeons. You don't need them in Rift, the Rift Beast or anything. So, yeah. Alright, guys. That's it. I mean, I could do more. It's already 32 minutes, but I think that's... I was just trying to give you guys some basics on how to rune monsters for kind of like beginners. I know I talked too much already. I was trying to not talk. I thought it was going to be a 5-minute video. I swear I thought it was going to be a 5-minute video. But hopefully it helps some of the newer players out. If you're new to the game, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Unless you hate me, then you don't have to do that. And yeah, hope you got something out of the video. I will see you as always. I'm tired, I'm gonna go to bed. I'll see you as always in the next one.